Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. We're here another Monday night football to talk about everything. Actually, not a Monday night, sorry. Wednesday night football to talk about everything in regarding La Fiera. Um, Carlos, can you take over? I'm having issues with my mic. Okay.
Taking over. She gave me the QB role. Welcome to the Lions Den podcast. What episode is this? 110. Let's talk about Leon, everything that's been happening over the weekend. Man, Louis, how are we feeling, man? It's not a good time to be a Leon fan right now.
Not at all. I was really hoping for a nicer memory from my first visit to the Estadio Alfonso Lastras, which was my last Liga MX stadium, at least until the league gets shaken up, as it inevitably will in a few years with more ascensos, descensos, desapariciones, and what have you. But for now, this was the last one, and I was really hoping it would be a lot more fun than it ended up being. I mean, the experience, aside from the result, was fine. It was a nice, a good time had by all in terms of the stadium experience. But
Is that including the rain?
it only rained for about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, but it was pouring.
say.
I think I saw it on the
It was
broadcast.
it was
pouring.
raining pretty hard for about 15, 20 minutes. Most people went up. That stadium doesn't really have any roofed areas. There's no covered areas really at all. But there's like a little press area behind where I was. A lot of people on my side were going up there to try to get under something. But I stayed in my lugar. I was firm. I stayed sitting in my seat and got rained on. I'm from Portland. I'm used to getting rained on. It's fine. And unfortunately, the opening goal was scored during that rainy period. And it always seems like when the rain starts, Leon is always the team that is negatively affected by it first. I don't know why that is. I'm not going to use it as an excuse. I'm not going to be like Ariel Holan and just give excuses at every chance I'm given at every press conference. But that first goal, that opening goal, which really kind of killed our spirits, did happen during that downpour. So something to consider. But we got the possession, we got the chances, we just couldn't finish anything. And when your offense is so distraught, so desperate, because they're not getting anything, throwing numbers forward, just trying anything to see if it'll work, it doesn't take much. Doesn't take a very good counterattack at all en contra to be negatively affected, and that's what ended up happening on 2 occasions, and that was enough to seal the deal. Very, very depressing afternoon. Very, very depressing run of form as of late for the club. If we thought that game against Querétaro was depressing, well, this one was taken to another level.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad. I said when you got off, Gotti, I said it's a pretty bad time to be a Leon fan. It is very depressing. We don't know what's happening with the team. Maybe it's something internal, or maybe just the offense isn't functioning correctly. But this is literally the same team that got to the final last season, and we're losing to San Luis. That doesn't make sense to me. So it's obvious there's something wrong. And moving forward, we have some pretty interesting matchups coming this weekend, especially against Puebla. And I'm not very optimistic about it. I'm actually not very optimistic about the rest of the season, but we'll get into that.
No, I think that's a good thing to point out. I think what we talked about a couple of episodes was kind of the ending season, how it was looking like. Obviously, saying we have Querétaro coming up, we have San Luis coming up. At that point in time, we saw them as pretty, manageable games where we could easily walk out with 6 points. That not being the case definitely puts us in a different perspective because we just don't understand. I mean, it's not. I mean, obviously, looking at standings, we're not in bad standings, but I mean, I just don't even know what to say anymore. Like Carlos, I'm not feeling really optimistic. We've said this so many times. It's not that we don't have the quality. It's not that we can't. It's just we're just tired of, I guess, of us always expecting what we have always expected from the club, and recently hasn't been like they haven't delivered the way that we want them to deliver. that makes any sense. But I can only imagine Louis actually being there in the games and suffering the past two games. So,
well, this one
it is a
especially,
bad time.
as I was saying also when you were momentarily disconnected, I was really hoping for a more fun first visit to my last stadium in Liga MX, and the experience on the whole was fine, but the result was just, and it was, I mean, they're doing a lot of things right. They're just not. They're not capitalizing. They're not converting in critical moments and in critical spaces on the field. They're just, I mean, they're possessing the ball a lot. What was it, Carlos? Like 68-32 or something like that. It was
totally one-sided.
It was. I mean, they have no trouble controlling the ball. I mean, you'd think if you're controlling that much possession, you're kind of controlling the flow of the game. But just their lack of finishing, their lack of getting dangerous crosses into the area. I mean, how many crosses have we seen in that game that were just 10, 20 feet too far?
Yeah.
It's like the last pass is not being converted accurately. And then when they finally get one, like Davila's chance that I don't have no idea how that was blown. Like when they finally get one in, it's like they're so surprised they don't know what to do with it. You know?
Yeah.
It's and like I said, I mean, I want to be hard on the defense, but I mean, the first objective of the game is to score goals, and when you're struggling so much to do that, you're taking a lot of risks and doing a lot of things you wouldn't normally do to try to make that happen. And then your defense gets just discombobulated since they can't play comfortably. When the offense is not clicking, the defense cannot play comfortably. I mean, they should still be man marking better than they are. I mean, Barreiro, just some of those, he just gets lost out there sometimes. I don't know. He's hit or miss because sometimes he looks really good. But I mean, I think, I don't know. I think they need to get this offense clicking before. If they can get this offense clicking, that will make all 11 players click. I don't know. They say that you should build the teams from back to front. I think to some degree that's true. But you can't go. You don't play to go out and defend. I mean, unless you're Tuca Ferretti, you don't go out and play every match to defend. I mean, the goal of the game is to go out and score.
Yeah.
And they're just so inept at that right now that nothing else is working.
Yeah.
I mean, even Cota hasn't been that fortress that we expected him lately. I mean, I don't want to say he could have done more on
we've
either.
expected a decline from that, right? Like he can only maximize his potential so much to save, carry the team on his back.
Yeah.
That I get to a point where it's like, well, you
How
guys
much
aren't
more
helping
can he
me
do?
either.
Yeah.
So I guess with that, let's go ahead and go into our pregame. Carlos, you ready for the pregame?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Pre-game against San Luis, Santiago Ormeño left off the roster, serving a one-game suspension after being sent off against Querétaro. Not that it mattered, and it's not that he's our first choice anyway. But Davila didn't have that great of a game either, so I don't know. We'll get into it. And obviously Davila returning from a one-game suspension, also from accumulation of yellows. Didn't matter either. I don't know. We could just continue talking about how bad our offense is, but I mean, we're just beating a dead horse at this point. Let's go through the starting 11. We had Cota on goal, Mosquera, Gary, Barreiro, and Tecillo backline. Fidel Ambris getting a lot of good minutes for his age. Luis Montes in there, no Colombato. That was maybe one of the surprises for me. We had Mena, Fernandez, Meneses, and Davila. Again, on paper, guys, this is last season's runner-up champion. Like this, we're not supposed to lose to this team. We're supposed to play a lot better than we did, and we saw nothing. Like nothing. No good takeaways from the game at all. I don't know. What do you guys think? Lineup
I like
wise.
to say, Carlos, this is the episode where I'm losing you. I think this has really deeply affected you.
I mean, I think the title of this episode fits perfectly. It's panic button time. Like, There's never been a time where I felt the panic button is more necessary than today.
Well,
Honestly, and I mean, I kind of have like a sort of a hot take.
okay.
Sort of a hot take.
Okay.
Roll the clip. Roll the clip.
Oh, okay. It's a hot take time.
Sort of a hot take about this
Sort
team.
of a hot take.
Yeah.
Okay. We're starting off early this show with a hot take.
Let's
do
go. Hot take. Ariel Holland's early resignation affected this team so much that a lot of them are just throwing in the towel. They just want the season to be over already. They don't care about making it to Liguilla. They just want the season to be over so this guy can leave. That's my hot take. Go ahead.
Well,
Louis, shaking your head.
my inflammatory response to that, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Inflammatory response.
I'm not saying you're wrong. In fact, you're probably more right than wrong. But anyone on our team who has that attitude, I don't want on my team. They are professionals. They have a responsibility to other people besides the manager that they don't like. They have a responsibility to their front office. They have a responsibility to their representation. They have a responsibility to their teammates. And they have a responsibility, most of all, to the fans, those of us who invest so much time, energy, and yes, money, so that the career of a futbolista can be as lucrative as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't want to accept that responsibility, I don't want them on my team anymore. Maybe it's time for a complete overhaul. I mean, I know this is not a situation unique to León. There's a reason they came up with the term tender la cama del entrenador. You know, this is something that happens, especially in Liga MX. I feel like this happens a lot. But these guys still have an opportunity. I mean, they're right in the hunt for, if not the top four anymore, realistically, at least the home repechaje game. And from there, anything can happen. They are still in the hunt. They cannot, that attitude, if it is indeed the attitude of the majority of the roster, is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And
Yeah.
it might be time not just to get a new manager, but keep some of these guys, of course, but maybe let a good chunk of them be on their merry way.
Okay. So going through the starting 11, just the starting 11.
Okay.
Who do you keep? Who do you cut going into next season? Cota, do you keep Cota?
Yes.
Keep Cota.
Obviously you keep Cota. Mosquera, what do you guys think?
I don't think he can play right back anymore.
But you keep him on
Not
the squad.
as a right back, but I
Not
keep
as a
him
right
as a
back.
backup. Yeah, I keep him as
I'd
a
keep
center
him
back.
either as a backup or as a spot starter at right center back, but not as a right back.
Gotti.
No.
Gotti's out.
Gotti's out for me.
Depth piece only. Definitely not a starter.
Barreiro.
Keep.
Yeah.
Okay. Tecillo,
He hasn't looked good.
Keep.
He hasn't looked good
Keep.
lately, but I would keep him.
Tecillo keep as well. Fidel Ambris
Yeah.
keep. I'm pretty sure we want to build around
Fidel
him.
Ambris keep.
Montes. Ooh, this is a tough one. Is it time?
As a super sub, not as a starter.
I keep
As
him.
a super sub, okay. Angel Mena. Might be time.
I think it might
There's
be
an
time.
offer on the table.
If there's a good offer on the table, I would love to appreciate everything he has done for the club, and I could let him go.
Yeah, if a team feels like overspending for him, I think it would be a great opportunity to jump on that.
Not diminishing anything that he has done. It's time. The money meets the amount. He personally feels like he's given his all to this team, and he wants to personally move on. His cycle has closed, and I love him. I appreciate him. I mean, he's given us, great
memories.
moments.
Yeah.
And his situation, his situation is interesting. He needs to make sure that he is in the right situation where he's going to definitely be taken into consideration for the World Cup.
I was gonna say that. Oh my God, you're reading my mind
So,
today.
so he can't go just anywhere. Like, I mean,
Okay.
he's not ready to retire. I think when he's ready to retire,
No.
he'll probably go back and play for Emelec. But I don't think he's at that point yet, especially not in a World Cup year.
I actually
No.
have a.
I think whether or not it's time for him, I think he'll stay at least 6 more months at Leon.
I have a hot take about Angel Mena, but we'll get to that after this.
Okay.
Another hot take about Angel Mena. Remind me of it because I might forget.
I will.
Omar Fernandez. Ugh.
I would personally say keep because I know he's capable of more than what he's been able to show recently.
And he's very young too.
I have a feeling that he will not be back though.
Interesting.
I'm-
Menes. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No. I'm struggling because it's not that I don't like Omar Fernandez. I just don't think bajo Lan have we squeezed as much as we can from him. It's not a bad player. Obviously, we got him for a reason. I would say leave.
I'd say keep just because I don't think he's gotten a fair chance yet. I really don't think I think he's one of those guys he hasn't gotten his fair chance. And
It's fair enough.
the potential that he has and the potential that we saw of him in Puebla, I mean, the sky was the limit for him. Like, I don't think that was his peak. I think he has a lot more to give, and I don't think he's been given a fair chance with Leon just because he's had the captain Luis Montes, playing that position that he plays. I'd say keep, but let's move on. Davila.
Keep.
Davila, yeah, keep for
Okay.
sure.
Cool.
Maybe not having to play as a target striker though.
So maybe a switch John Meneses for Ibanez and then put Davila on a wing.
Or as a second striker, but playing behind the number 9, not as the number 9.
That's a sweet idea. Anyways, hot take about Angel Mena. And I thought about this.
I thought you were gonna go through the rest. Might as well go through the rest of the.
Oh, it's because I only have the start.
You don't have the roster?
I don't have the roster. If you want to pull it up while I drop my hot take.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Dang, Carlos, second round of hot take.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, Louis brought up the fact that Angelito Mena wants to go somewhere where he's going to be taken into consideration for the World Cup. I say he's already taking care of himself. Se está cuidando in order to make it to the World Cup, because how many times have we seen players that are going to the World Cup or being in consideration for the World Cup get injured because they're playing hard at their clubs and then they miss the World Cup? I mean, getting to the World Cup is a player's dream. I mean, I'm pretty sure Louis knows Gio Reyna. He's out probably from the World Cup because he got injured. So I think I don't know, especially at his age, it might be his last chance to get to a World Cup. So I'm saying se está cuidando. That's my hot take.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping that this last qualifying cycle, and there's enough time between then and the World Cup that at least for the rest of this season, that our seleccionados would be free of that, temporarily anyway, free of that that burden. Like the qualifying is over, and it's so long still until the World Cup that they can still go full out. But I think you might be right that the guys who are seriously in the mix to make the rosters for their World Cup sides, who for us, I guess, is just at this point is just Mena and Ormeño, no?
Yeah, Mena and Ormeño.
Yeah.
Mena and Ormeño. Well,
because Tecillo and Chile and Colombia will not be in the World Cup. So yeah, and there's no guarantee that Peru will either. They probably will, but there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
And obviously, Ormeño's not as critical of a player to our plans as Mena is. So yeah, I think this is a situation that for us is unique to Mena, and something that we'll have to monitor over the coming months for sure.
Yeah. Cari, thoughts? Se está cuidando Mena to make it to the World Cup.
Mena.
What is he, like 34, 35 now? Something like that?
Yeah, but if he
Yeah.
doesn't, no, he's 33, I think. But if he's not playing with a high-level squad in a high-level league and getting minutes and producing,
He's
I
34.
mean, there's no guarantees he makes that final World Cup squad.
That is true. I mean, it's not like there's still a whole process. There's still, possible youngsters that may come in and overtake his place. It's not a guarantee you take a 34-year-old to a World Cup. Obviously, we're not just mentioning because of his age, but you have other players with, probably better qualities than he does. Is he saving himself? I really just want to know what his mentality is like, because I feel like it has varied over the seasons in Leon. Obviously, when we think about the game in Tigres, about the whole injury, when we think about his redemption, we think about all this. I think mentally I really want to know mentally where he's at, especially at this point in time with what's currently going on with the team. I don't know. That's hard. That's hard to answer. I mean, obviously we all, remember back in the day when, Chapito was going to go to the World Cup, and then, that happened to him, and
Another
we
good
would have never
example.
known. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a tough question. I mean, it's a good thought.
Well,
to think
yeah.
about.
One thing though is getting injured in a meaningless, preparation friendly, and one thing is like getting injured trying to help your club win a league title. I don't know. I just think there's a difference there.
But I
But
think
his mentality,
that comes a question, no? In like cuánto quieres al club, you know what I mean? Cuánto representas al
yeah.
club? ¿Qué garra tienes to actually
Yeah.
want
Well,
it? And I guess we can question everybody at this point, no?
sure. But I mean,
Yeah.
Mena got hurt in 2 finals, if we recall. I mean, you ask like what's going through his mind. I'm thinking he probably thinks I got hurt in the final. I couldn't play against Tigres. He got hurt in the final against Pumas too. He had to come out of that game. Ultimately, that time we prevailed, but still, I mean, I'm thinking he thinks he doesn't want. You're probably right, Carlos. He doesn't want that to happen again. This is going to be his first and certainly last World Cup. His only World Cup.
Yeah. Great hot take.
Yeah.
Anyways,
The more I talk it out, the more it makes sense. Like
The more it
his
makes sense.
Yeah.
But then again, like what Louis said in the beginning, in a different perspective, like these are professionals, right? You're supposed to be playing for a club that you have committed at this point in time, and you want to see them prevail in all types of scenarios. Obviously, the CCL is behind us now, but this is the focus right now.
I think it's just something we're just gonna have to monitor. I mean, let's see how he plays against Puebla, Santos, America. Like let's see how his level is, because it's certainly something to look out for.
I mean, even if we're willing to accept that Mena has this built-in excuse, what's everyone else's excuse? They are not going to be in the World Cup. All they have between now and whenever is their club.
Now in the summer, yeah.
In the summer, yeah. I mean, I guess there will be. Yeah, there's one more international window where there'll be some friendlies, but I mean, really, you're not saving yourself for that. Those guys, the only one who has this built-in excuse is Mena. Like Meses, Davila, what are their excuses?
Yeah. There we go.
Well, in that case, Carlos, let's go back to.
Let's go back to this roster real quick. Let's start off with the goalies. We have Poncho Blanco. Cut or keep?
Keep.
I mean, in his few opportunities, he's shown that he's up to the task. Played well in that friendly against Chivas.
Apparently, Vasquez Mellado is still with the club. He's still registered.
He is.
I haven't seen him like not even once. But
he's made a couple of matchday squads as the backup instead of Poncho.
So keep or cut.
I mean, you don't need all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, you don't need all 3, but he came through. I mean, but he is up there in terms of his age.
Yeah, he's 40, almost 40.
Gilburon.
keep. You gotta keep my man. Keep him.
I mean,
Mira, you know that Club Leon's not legitimately going to replace every single position, right?
Yeah, that's a fact. I guess.
So, what positions are we targeting to actually find a legitimate replacement, right? I don't mind having him as a backup on the bench. Le echa ganas. I mean, you know, está aguerrido.
he's a perfect depth piece. He's never going to be thought of as someone you're going to be depending on. But when he's called upon, he's done well enough. He doesn't strike me as a guy anybody dislikes. I mean, I'm sure everybody likes having him around. He's a good locker room presence. Just a good morale guy. And when he does have to play, he doesn't make mistakes. So
he delivers for me. I mean, you see, Gary has continually started. No one's talking about him. Put my man Gilberón in, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very end of the bench guy. I'm not too concerned about the very end of the bench guys. I am concerned about having solid depth, especially because, like it or not, we do have one more Conca Champions coming in 2023. And I'd like to do better in that one than we've done in these last three.
Fingers crossed. Moving on, Osvaldo Rodriguez. I know this is going to be very controversial.
Might as well just talk about it.
Yeah, might as well just talk about it.
Bye, Felicia.
So today, if anybody had missed any Twitter news, if you forgot to check Twitter today, rumor came out saying that Seattle Sanders was after Osby. And basically, if he leaves in the summer and that is true, then he would leave as a free agent. Now, thoughts? I personally say, I mean, I guess depending, because obviously if they renew him and they end up selling him, then we do cash in, correct?
Yeah, I mean, unless the price tag is too high. Yeah. And teams tend to do that. Teams tend to re-sign players with a higher price tag or a higher buyout clause, especially when there's somebody interested. But in this case, he's just going to walk. I don't even know. I mean, if I was him, le conviene to just walk and just go to the MLS like Jurgen Damm and all these other players that we've heard of.
If a team is interested in him, though, they might, I don't know, they might work out a deal with Leon so that, I don't know, like something sort of like discovery rights. I know that's not the same thing because discovery rights is something different. But I mean, like a certain team wants this player who's going to be out of contract but is still on contract now, and they like want first crack at him. So I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of deal that would be worked out. Because otherwise, I mean, I don't know. They wouldn't even have to be talking about this. Like, I don't know.
So
again, we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, there's a shout out to Dario. He's a Leon fan who lives in Monterrey. I saw a tweet of him talking about this. He made a point about, I guess he in a way is kind of not in favor of Leon getting rid of Osby, because saying how we don't develop as many Mexican players, and we were letting go of this Mexican defense, and what does that say about the club and stuff like that. Me personally, I think Osby's time is up with us. I mean, we've said this along various podcasts. When he's done good, we've said he's done good. When he's been really consistent, we've called him out for it. I think at this point, I think we can get someone better. And I say for him to walk.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that argument.
Well, here's the thing.
First of all,
Go on.
Go ahead, Carlos.
I was gonna say, here's the thing. First of all, he's a starter, seleccionado nacional, and he's Mexican, meaning that he doesn't take up a foreigner roster spot. Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult to come by Mexican defenders, wingers, in this league. So it's going to be difficult to replace him when it comes to having another Mexican defender that has his potential. I mean, yeah, you can use like someone like Oscar Villa, but again, the inconsistency there, the youth, the immaturity might end up kind of, kicking yourself in the leg. So,
but we have to give these players up and coming opportunities. I mean, Fidel Ambris, he wasn't, he there's some games where it's not that great, but he keep having faith in him starting. Why not the same for Oscar Villa? You know what I mean? Like there's games where he's done good and games where clearly you're like, you know what? That was terrible. Pero solo así aprenden. You know what I mean? Like you can't just expect like 100% every single time from a youngster that's coming up.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. Maybe because mentally I'm like not counting Osby anymore in the club, honestly. Not in a bad way. I just don't.
I think Osby is still so young that we forget how long he's been with the club. He's been with the club 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
6 years, and really,
6 years.
a winger or a wingback. I'd call him a wingback. A wingback by 25. I mean, that's. I hate to say this, but a lot of times that's the peak of their career. You don't expect them to get much better after that. It's not like a central defender or a goalkeeper. I mean, there are certain positions where, I mean, like the European dream, if they don't have it by 25, the European dream is crushed for a lot of these guys. And I just don't think we can expect much more from him than we've already seen at this point. We've gotten a lot of Osby at this point.
Yeah.
And first of all, I don't buy the argument about not being able to develop Mexican players. They just built La Esmeralda. That's what it's for. Mm-hmm. It is to expand the academy and make León a destination for academy players. That's what it's for. Yeah. I think, they just finished it. This is its first full year of existence. So we got to be a little patient there. But I think that's really going to pay dividends 3-4 years down the road. Something like, around that. Yeah. And I do think they believe in Oscar Villa. I think Oscar Villa, how old is Oscar Villa? Is he even 20? I don't know how old he is.
I don't know.
He is 21.
He's 21. I think he's certainly much further along at 21 than Osby was at 21. And I think there's hope for him to become a much better player. They're obviously already comfortable with starting him in place of Osby, and that has been hit or miss, but mostly hit. Mm-hmm. And Osby's he's just not. First of all, he can't stay healthy, and even when he is healthy, he's just not consistent. He's had a couple of glorious moments. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he scored what most would consider to be one of the best, if not the best, goals for the Mexican national team in 2021. Uh-huh. And he's had a couple of bangers for León too. I remember that one against Atlas exactly a year ago to seal the 3-1. I remember that. That was great. And obviously the goal, the tap in on the last play of the game to defeat Chivas about a couple months ago. I will always remember him for that and always be thankful for him for that moment in particular. But it's just not enough. It's not consistent enough. Yeah. It's not consistent enough to give him another contract.
Next up, rounding up the defense, Pedro Hernandez. I think we keep Pedro Hernandez.
We keep him if they're going to give him a shot. If they're going to give him a real shot, then I say keep him.
Yeah. I mean, if we get rid of Gotti, I mean, I'd prefer Hernandez, to be honest.
Well, I think we all prefer Hernandez even right now.
Yeah.
I agree.
Moving on to the midfield. This is also a controversial one, Jefecito.
I keep him.
Yeah, I think I would too. I don't know. I just have this dream of him and Fidel Ambris becoming like this lethal dual pivot.
Canterano.
I think, like the two of them like playing together, getting comfortable with each other, growing into each other's game. I think I still see some hope there.
Next up, Elias Hernandez.
Keep. Do not let my man go. Do not let my man go.
He's getting up there.
No.
He's getting up there, but think of the refuerzos de lujo that we got before last season. He's really the only one who's been anything resembling consistent.
Yeah.
Keep my man.
I do not understand people complaining about him. Like,
no,
are they watching? Are they watching a different team? I don't get it.
I'll answer the next one for us. This is a cut. Jorge Diaz price.
Oh yeah,
Cut.
he should never have
He
been
shouldn't
back
have
in the
come
first
back.
place.
Exactly.
Santiago
Respectfully.
Colombato.
Keep Colo baby for days.
Keep him.
Keep for
Okay.
sure. Although this has not been his best season, but yes,
Okay.
keep him.
Avion.
Goal scoring wise, I mean, he's got a couple of really nice goals on the season, but just recuperación, possession, like things that we expect out of that position. It's not been his greatest season.
Yeah. Avion.
I'd keep him as an option.
Off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I'm ready to cut him.
Ready
Yeah?
to cut him?
I think he's the only other player who can play right back for us. Otherwise, we have to go out and shop for a right back.
That's true. I mean, he's done
well,
it well
hopefully
in the
they will.
past. It's just lately, it's just obviously, he hasn't really had that starting role as before, and I don't know. I mean, I'd keep him as a backup.
Fede Martinez.
I give him the benefit of the doubt and keep him another season.
Another season?
One more tournament.
Mhm.
One more tournament? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. Last one. Here's a good one. Santiago Ormeño. Oof.
Depends on how aggressively they shop for another striker in the off season.
And
Like, if they
I
can
want
somehow-
a legitimate one. Like, give me a legitimate one. I'm tired of us going through all these like actual number 9s and vienen a León y no sale nada. Like
Yeah.
nada. I mean,
If
do we
they
all
can-
remember Walter? Like, what was that?
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If
What
they can somehow convince Pachuca to give us Ibanez for Meneses, I would do that in a
Oh,
heartbeat.
reminiscences. We're gonna talk about
But also Berterame is going to be out of contract this
Let's
season.
go.
We saw what he did to us on Saturday.
How old
I'd
is he
be-
though?
I'm not sure.
He is
I know I'd be happy to have him though.
23. He's 23.
Oh,
Berterame?
He's 23. Yeah, I just Googled it.
Wow.
Germán Berterame. He's 23, born in 1998. I'd go after him.
Absolutely.
I'd go after him.
Man,
I
there
thought
are
he
several
was
pieces
older.
on that. There's several pieces on that San Luis team. Like I know San Luis, like that team is better than their profile, I would say.
Yeah.
And they're not playing with very much pressure to win. So I think like that combined with the talent that they have, that was the only thing I was going to say just to wrap up the game. That awful game is that San Luis is a better team than they're given credit for,
Yes.
and they have
Yeah.
some weapons. John Murillo, obviously.
What a lethal attacker. I mean, I don't
had
expect
no
him to
answer
be
for
there next
him.
season.
Also, I don't think there were rumors that León would sign Abel Hernandez. If you remember that before the season, he plays for San Luis now. I don't think he played on Saturday, but he's been good for them too. So yeah, they're San Luis has got a couple of gems on that squad.
Yeah.
I would not mind poaching a few of them, just like we
Cool,
did
cool.
with Puebla.
Oh yeah. That
Carlos, you
wraps up the
forgot
lineup.
to mention. Did you say John Meneses?
I didn't we talk
Did
about
you?
him? Yeah, he was on the starting lineup. We talked about him.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we said. I think Louis said if Pachuca wants to make a deal with us for Ibanez.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
just
like
Pachuca. I mean, I would be willing to part with him if the price is right, whether that comes in the form of the bag or players.
Yeah, but they've
But,
been shopping him though for the last 2 seasons. We've been hearing that Leon has offered him to different clubs, and the price tag is just too high. Nobody wants to buy him, so it's probably just better to do a team swap at this point.
What is 3.85 mil
Yeah, but I think the buyout clause for him might be higher.
higher than that?
Yeah, we normally don't know the buyout clause. Yeah, it's probably going to cost a pretty penny for anybody to get his services.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wraps up the starting 11. I mean, the starting lineup. Not the starting lineup, the roster. What am I talking about?
It's okay. We've been talking about all these players this whole time. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the Liga MX jornada that just passed. Obviously, right now, Chivas and Monterrey are playing the jornada 12 game.
Oh yeah, how's that going?
Chivas is winning 1-0. Sorry, Louis.
Oh, that's actually good for us. In this one instance, I mean, I'm never gonna say I'm rooting for Chivas to win, but in this instance, a Chivas win would be better for Leon in terms of standings.
Of course. So Thursday match, Atlas beat Necaxa 2-1, Puebla and Pumas drawing 2-2. That game was pretty good if you guys did not watch it. It was a good game. Mazatlan and Cruz Azul drawing 1-1 as well. Obviously, talked about San Luis beating us 2-0. Toluca versus Chivas, 1-1. Heard it was a crazy match. Did not get to watch it. At the same time, Monterrey beating they beat Santos 1-0. Obviously, I was watching that America game, and after 2-1, I was like, I'm done watching. Like, this game is over. They beat Juarez 3-0. Which Juarez, I mean, is Tuca gonna leave? Are they gonna keep him around till the end of the season? Which is my thought. They're not gonna fire this man at this point.
I don't think they're going to fire him.
I don't think they're ever going to fire him. When are they ever going to get a coach that high profile at Juarez? Like,
Exactly.
even if he's over the hill and his style like only works if he has a certain roster, which he certainly doesn't have in Juarez. But I still don't think they're going to fire him.
I agree.
Ever.
I agree.
Yeah.
Tigres beating Querétaro 1-0 and Pachuca
that was
versus
so
Cholos
frustrating.
0-0. You watched it?
I watched it. Well, Tigres ended the match with playing with 9 players.
Yes, that is true. I heard
The Soteldo incident. He celebrated by taking off his jersey when he was already on a yellow, which is about the dumbest thing anyone can ever do in a match. I can't think of a dumber thing that you can do
than that.
But they scored with a man down, and then they were 2 men down for at least, I want to say, like 15 minutes, and even playing against 9 Querétaro. I can't believe they scored one against us the way they looked playing against 9, like at home.
Yeah.
Playing in La Corregidora again, which is controversial in and of itself.
Yeah.
But no fans, obviously. But they were playing at the Corregidora, and they couldn't get the equal. They couldn't even get the equalizer playing against 9 players. It was the most frustrating thing ever. I really, really wanted Tigres to not win that game.
Oh God! So current standings: Pachuca in first place, followed by Tigres, Puebla, Atlas, Cruz Azul, Monterrey. We're currently in 7th, like we've mentioned. Toluca 8th, Chivas 9, San Luis 10th, Pumas 11, and America 12 currently at the moment. We're not in bad standings. Obviously, there's upcoming doble jornada. So obviously, we face Puebla this weekend. Then midweek, we'll face America. Guys, realistically, I think after, our feelings after this San Luis game are not looking so optimistic. I mean, let me talk about myself. I'm not looking that optimistic for the next upcoming games. I think I even messaged in our chat. I think we could get 6 points. Realistically, me thinking how I feel at this point, I don't know what your thoughts are about the next upcoming games versus Puebla, America, Santos, and Toluca.
Not going to be easy at all. I mean, if we thought we could get 6 points against Querétaro and San Luis, who are Querétaro's bottom of the table, San Luis is mid-table, we're probably not going to do too well against America and Santos and Puebla. I mean, it's a very uphill battle, but I will say, I think our future depends on what we see from this first half against Puebla. Like, if we see a team that comes out organized, hungry, maybe get some goals in, I think we got a chance to stay in the race. But if we're just playing lethargic like we did against San Luis and Querétaro, I think I don't know, guys. I think it's time to start praying after that.
I don't know. This is a team that has always played to the level of its competition. They don't call them Levanta Muertos for nothing. I think it's equally likely that they go out against teams they know are better, like Puebla and America. Santos this season has been up and down. I know you've got a member of the Santos contingent there with you, Kari, so I'm not going to speak too ill of them, but they haven't had an ideal season. I mean, just like we haven't. And but they're a good team. I don't know. I think they might go in and put up more of a fight than they did against Querétaro and San Luis. I don't know whether that translates into results. We'll see. But I think your prediction of maybe getting 6 points out of these last 4 matches I'd say that's fairly realistic.
That's what I'm thinking.
And 6 points would put us on 25. That's firmly in home repechaje positions. So, I mean, that's not ideal. We're a team that wants to qualify directly into the top 4, of course.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the minimum goal for a club like ours, especially because we've done so 2 out of the 3 times now. And yeah, but honestly, at this point, dropping these points that we did in San Luis and against Querétaro, what we probably should realistically be shooting for at this point is a home repechaje game. I mean, I just think that's. I mean, there's still a way we can qualify directly. We obviously need some help. We need some results to go our way. We do not control our own destiny. So in terms of what we can control, I think we should be shooting for that. And then if we get something better out of it at the end, great. But a home repechaje game, 6 points in a home repechaje game, that's what I'm shooting for at this point.
Man, who would
So
have
if we're
thought?
shooting for 6 points, right? If we kind of mutually agree, that's kind of what we are hoping for. What games are we winning in these next upcoming 4? What 2 games?
It could be a win, or it could also be a win and 3 draws.
Okay, so what do you? Okay, yes, Louis, what do you think?
Don't give your don't give your prediction. Are we doing predictions?
Well, I guess I guess we're talking about Puebla, but then also kind of what do you want to do?
Because we got to give 2 predictions next, right? Because it's a doble jornada.
Doble jornada. Because we play. What do we play Wednesday?
We play Wednesday.
Wednesday?
We play Wednesday. It's up to you guys. Do you want to go ahead and do prediction time?
Do it, and then we can just do all predictions for the rest of the season.
Okay, so quickly to mention, we're facing Puebla. Their track record recently, they just drew 2-2 against Pumas. They lost against Toluca 2-1. They drew against Santos 2-2. They lost against San Luis 2-1. So jornada 9 was the last time that they won. It was against Cruz Azul 3-1. So they haven't been looking too hot.
Yeah, but Puebla's one of those teams que se agranda when they play León. Like they always come to play against us, no matter how they're playing.
Yeah. Sure. Well, let's go ahead and go prediction time, and then we'll just roll out the answers to the questions of what our predictions are. What predictions are attainable for the next upcoming game? So let's go ahead and go into prediction time.
Prediction time!
Louis, what is your prediction for? Give me just this Puebla game.
Okay. Something tells me we're going to see a different León team come out in this game, hungrier, knowing that their opponent is good and expected to give them a fight. I think somehow they come out of this one with a 2-0 win.
Wow.
2-0 win.
2-0.
Okay. Carlos.
Oh man, I'm not very optimistic. We're not gonna lose. I'm never gonna say we're gonna lose. I think Puebla's been a big surprise this season, maybe the biggest surprise. And they always come to play against us. We haven't been necessarily our best. I think we're gonna draw. I think we're gonna escape with the 1-1. I think it's gonna be a close game. Cota's gonna be our savior again, but I think 1-1 for me.
See, I'm going with the 2-2. I had that in mind. I don't know. I'm with Carlos. I don't feel optimistic this game. I feel like I felt optimistic after the Querétaro game, saying, "Oh, we're heading into San Luis." I felt like that would be the perfect scenario to kind of that it happened. I think it's gonna be a tougher game, so I'm gonna say we draw 2-2. I also predict the draw. Which leaves to say, Louis, what does your other predictions look like in we get 6 points from the next upcoming games?
Well, so I think we're gonna get 3 on
Mhm.
Saturday.
Mhm.
And I think we're gonna win at the Azteca on Wednesday.
Okay. So you're saying we lose Santos versus Santos in Toluca?
I'm not gonna predict that we lose those games. I'll go so far as to say I wouldn't be surprised if we do.
Or draw. We could draw.
Or draw.
No. Well, yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be 6. I mean,
Well, it wouldn't be 6. No. But there's hope that we could draw one of those last 2 games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we win. I think we win at the Azteca against America because I don't think America is a ratonero. I think they're going to come out and try to win, especially if they're trying to qualify.
Okay.
And that'll open a lot of spaces for us. And I think with our offense, we could be able to get out of there with a couple goals. And then I think against Toluca, obviously with Nacho Ambriz being there, I think some of these guys are going to have a little extra motivation to play against our ex-coach. So I think we might get that win too. Toluca hasn't been spectacular this season either.
Mm-hmm. I had, and I told him I had games for us winning against America and Toluca. I think we win those games.
Sweet. Let's hope it happens.
I think maybe whatever happens Saturday could possibly change your minds, or
Saturday's a big.
Yeah, if they go out and get a decisive win on Saturday, I think that could really shape the panorama for the remaining 3 games.
Even a draw. I mean, I'd be okay with a draw as long as I see something there.
Something.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree with that. Guys, anything else before we leave? We are good with our emotions at this point?
Yeah, we'll be all right, I think.
I mean, they are still decently positioned.
Yes.
So it's just a question of finding some of their form, not even all of it, just something resembling their form. If they can find a little bit of form, they're well positioned to make a run. So
yeah, I don't know if we're gonna go the rest of the season losing every game or drawing every game. We gotta win at least one game. We gotta get some goals in too. So I think that'll give us a nice boost and we'll remain at least in the fight.
Yeah. I agree with that. Halftime at Chivas Monterrey. Shout out to Vado. I had tweeted for people to come join our pain, and he said, "What pain?" But I guess they're in more pain than we are. So, shout out to them. All the Chiva hermanos out there suffering like always. They're used to it or not. Anyways, well, Louis, hope you have a good game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy your time there.
Will do.
Yeah, guys.
Then got an action-packed travel week next week. Yeah, I will be at the Azteca again on Wednesday.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Louis just...
And then I'm coming back to Guanajuato and then traveling again to Torreon on the weekend.
A true doble jornada viaje. So, well, Louis, safe travels. I will see you soon. But yeah, guys, thank you everybody that joined us via Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. If you guys enjoyed this episode, if you guys aren't able to watch the game for whatever reason, please follow @ClubLeonEN to keep you updated with all the live tweets and actions during the game. Don't forget to follow Louis, following him on his travels to see the club, and let us know what your thoughts are, if anything. So thank you so much for joining us in this episode, and we'll see you guys on another episode of the Lions Den Podcast.